Hi everyone, welcome to the Hey There Thrivival podcast. My name is Emily, and in this podcast we talk all things twins, multiples, parenthood, wellness, and everything in between. Today's guest is as inspiring as she is authentic. Taylah Tudehope-Glachan of the Glachan Quad Squad has shared her journey and amassed an eye-watering 14 million views and counting online. The mum to quadruplets and shares so much body positivity, energy and inspiration. Today we're going to get into who she was pre-babies, her journey to pregnancy, feeding, sleep, does she sleep, and also her top tips. So for other parents, some takeaways there that I think you'll really enjoy, whether you've got multiples or not. As always, if you enjoy my podcast, I'd really appreciate it if you could subscribe and rate us. That way, we'll get this podcast sent to other parents to get them best set up to thrive, not just survive. Okay, let's jump in. Taylah, welcome to the Hey There Thrivival podcast. It is wonderful to have you here today. Thanks for making the time. Could you give us a little bit of an introduction about who you are and why you're on the pod today?
Is Taylah. I don't know if we'd call myself new anymore because now it's 19 months, but I'm a mum to quadruplets. And I've been documenting our crazy journey since, pretty much we found out we were pregnant, and it's just been a wild ride since.
Wonderful. And so what are the names of your babies? Let's get those out as well.
Yes, so we have, I'll go eldest to youngest. We have Daisy, she's our only girl, and Archie, Billy, and Charlie.
Lovely. And then your partner, Sean, as well. Special shout out to him.
Yes. Oh, yes. He's in the mix there too. Yes.
Important.
He's my fifth child.
Important piece. I don't know if he's like my partner, but he likes to say that he's like a super dad.
Yeah.
Does he do that?
Yeah. With the people are like talking about, oh my God, how did you have all these kids or whatever? He's, I'm here too. I'm in the background. I'm washing the bottles up. I'm doing it.
Yeah. And part of the creator. I mean, you did do the bacon though, but very important.
Yeah, exactly.
Very important to also have Sean. And you're based in Australia for those of our audience that are overseas.
Yeah. Sean and I are pretty much born and raised in the area that we live in. I did move away a little bit when I was younger and came back. So we're surrounded by pretty much all of our friends and family here, which we're super, super lucky for.
That's so good. I feel like that definitely is a huge bonus. So Taylah, tell us a little bit about who you were before having quads. You're highly documented online, which we'll get into, but who were you before that became associated as part of your identity?
It's crazy to look back on because I feel like my identity has completely shifted since becoming a mum, which I love. I love this new era that I'm in. I love the new version of me. But prior to having kids, I was very social. I was out there. Most weekends I was going out, having fun with the girls, that kind of thing. I was really into my sports. I played competitive sports all growing up. Sean and I were really big into our renovations. So we had bought a house back when we were 23 or so. So we had always been renovating that. That was our main hobby on a weekend, and then go catch up with friends in the afternoon. Throughout the week, I was a primary teacher. So I had just graduated. I was actually on my internship when I found out I was pregnant.
Wow.
I had been teaching at the local primary school that I went to. So I had a lot of my primary teachers there, which was lovely. And to add to that, Sean is a high school teacher. So through the week, we'd be teachers. Then school holidays, we would try and get away and travel. We had a van for a little bit. So we dipped our toes in everything. But most of the time we were out, we always had people with us. And that has carried across into our life now, except for the late nights with baby bottles rather than a nice cider or something like that.
Slightly different, just as fun though, right?
A little bit different, yeah.
Baby bottles are super fun, feeding all night. Okay.
Exactly.
Amazing. Well, I love that you're both teachers. Did that cement the relationship, or was that something that kind of happened later?
Yeah, so
early on, right?
Sean and I, we've been together since I was 16, Sean was 17. We met in high school, and we started dating. I had come to the high school a bit later on in the mix, and so we pretty much started dating only a little bit after knowing each other. I didn't go to uni until later on. I'd spent a few years out of high school working different jobs. Sean went straight into university and went straight to doing teaching. But we love helping people, especially the youth and our community. So teaching was just a natural path that we both fell into.
Amazing. And little did you know, so helpful with being children as well. I imagine there's a few skills in there which will be very handy. And the
Yes.
house renovation as well. Maybe it was just always meant to be. You guys had a house young. That's a bit unique, I think.
Yeah.
So it's a few things that
Unfortunately, we didn't think to renovate it for quadruplets.
missed it.
We renovated it to be like a cute little 2.5 bedroom, 1 bathroom home. We're like, this will be great. We will, like, as our family grows, we'll make it bigger. We just didn't realize we were going to get an instant family.
You should
And
have picked that one up,
yeah,
Taylor. I don't know how you missed it.
I know. I can't believe I didn't see that down our path, especially when we were like, we're going to have 3 kids. Boom, we had a surprise one in the mix.
An extra bonus. It's interesting. And I was going to ask, do you know if you've got many twins or triplets or quads through the generations on, I guess it's from the mother's line?
Yeah, so we had done IVF, and during that process, that question comes up a bit, and we had been speaking with our families, and nothing had come up until I announced that I was pregnant with quadruplets to my mum, and she was like, "Hey, hold on, I'm pretty sure my great grandfather was a triplet." I was like, "Right,
Thanks, Mum.
okay." Thanks, Mum. That would have been good to know. So this wasn't such a surprise. But yeah, apparently I've got painting it. It's like a really old picture, but yeah, he was a triplet.
Wow. That is absolutely wild. And
Yeah,
I guess, yeah, I wonder if they could have even been quads back in the day too, because you never know. Because it's
exactly.
better days
Yeah, actually, I
now.
think it was her dad's dad, so her grandfather, my
Wow,
great grandfather.
amazing.
Yeah,
So
crazy.
interesting. I think, well, you have no spare time, but it would be interesting to do your family tree all the way up to like the 700s. I did that and
Yeah.
I've seen so
Wow.
many sets of twins. My mind is blown. There's like, I think there's 17
Right.
that I accidentally came across, which is,
Right.
I
I'm
think
gonna
you
have
might
to
have a
do
few.
that definitely.
Yeah,
Yeah.
when you've got some spare
It'll be a big
time.
tree. It's a big oak tree.
Yeah, well, when you've got spare time, or maybe someone wants to do it for you. Now, as you mentioned, you've been documenting your journey online. When I last checked, you had a whopping 14.2 million views on one of the platforms. It's probably up now because that was when we first attempted this podcast. Common
Before gastro took down my whole
Oh my
house.
gosh, yeah, nightmare.
Wild.
And this is a very typical event with my guests that those
I
parents
could imagine, yes.
reschedule. But how has that been? So being so public, has it been comfortable? Has it been a warm place? Has it been challenging? I'd love to hear a little bit of what that has been like for you.
Yeah, well, we started our social media purely just to up our friends and family. Like, we just had so many group chats going on, and we're like, look, let's just start like an Instagram and we can keep you guys all updated on there. And I think when we posted our reaction videos, it just blew up. There was one night we uploaded it, and our friends were calling us, going, "Are you seeing this on TikTok? Like, it is going bananas." And yeah, it quickly, yeah, grew, and it has been the most like one of the bigger blessings in this process as well. We have been so lucky for that community that it's created, because it has been a warm community. It's been a supportive community in ways that we never expected, and ways that we didn't even think that we needed the support. So yeah, we have been so lucky with that. It has created incredible opportunities, able to be at home with the kids now full time without the stress of having to go back to work. But yeah, we run into people down the street, and it's nice because we get to see people and talk about the kids, and then it's also nice running into people that haven't seen us on social media, because then we get to share our whole story with them. It's like going down memory lane. Yeah, it's been crazy, but like a good crazy. We love it.
That's so nice. I'm glad to hear that, because I have to say, being public, you just never know what people will be like. You'd
Mm.
hope that they'd be warm and caring, but you never know. So I am really thrilled to hear that, because I did wonder, I was like, hopefully people are being nice, because there can be
Yeah, we
some
might
interesting
like
characters.
most of the time, definitely they outweigh everyone else. We did have a bit of a bout where I did post about how many nappies we were using in a week, and got absolutely slammed, because apparently people with quadruplets should be using reusable nappies and things
Mm,
like that. But
yeah.
a lot of the time it comes from people that haven't had multiples and just, yeah, have no idea.
Yeah, it's definitely, I was just speaking to a mum who will be a guest later, so I won't mention all the details, very exciting. She is absolutely a multiples mother and was again talking about, if you haven't had them, it is very difficult, like anything in life, to really appreciate what it is to have all those babies at once with the same inability and the logistics and the energy, as opposed to when people are like, hey, I had two close together, or I had 5 close together. I get it. And you're like, well, you probably get part of it, but not the whole thing. It's very different. So let's go into your journey to falling pregnant. Talked a little bit about how you found out. And for anyone that's listening that hasn't seen the videos, they are great. I always find it interesting when people remember to record. They're really good. So go and check out Taylor's stuff, which I'll tag later. Walk us through how you found out. Where were you? Were you with Sean? How did that go down?
Yeah, it's really funny that we did video everybody else's reactions, but we didn't film our own. So we had gone through IVF. So we're at our IVF clinic. And before we went in, I said, oh, we should just record this, Sean. And he goes, no, I really want to be in the moment. But anyway, so we went in, typical ultrasound room, the big TV in front of you. You're laying on the bed. So everything's coming up on the screen in front of you. I have endometriosis and polycystic ovary syndrome. So I've seen multiple ultrasounds and how things should look. So Sean was on my left shoulder, very vividly remember all this, and the sonographer on my right. She put the wand on and quickly pulled it away. And I just thought, oh, she's used the wrong wand or something like that. She's got to redo something. And then she's put it back on and then pulled it away. And there was just a shock on her face. And I had seen a few spots on the, sorry if you can hear one of my kids snoring. Just heard this through the monitor.
I can't, but I'm sure it sounds cute.
Yes, it is very cute. Yeah, and yeah, the shock on her face, I was like, okay, something's going on here. And I've seen a few spots what's happening. And she just held my leg and said, Taylah, you have multiple pregnancies in here, to the point where I actually have to check and count how many there are. Sorry, I'm going to quickly just check that this is still snoring.
That's okay.
Yes,
I'm good.
indeed is snoring.
Is it snoring or something else? Anyway,
Never know.
mum life.
Yes. And I went into complete shock. It was a time where you had to wear masks. I remember like saying, oh my God, Taylah, catch your breath. Anyway, she started moving the wand around and started counting, going, okay, there's one sack. There's a second. And we're going, oh my God, it's two. Okay, twins. We can handle twins. And then she goes, there's a third. And then I'm quickly thinking, oh, she hasn't finished counting. She knows that there's more than 3 here. And then she's gone, there's 4. And I remember just trying to find Sean's hand and saying to myself, breathe, Taylah, otherwise you're going to pass out. And then she's like, okay, I think there's 4. No, there's no room for thinking here. Can we clarify there's 4? I'm not about to be Octomum here. Like, what is going on? She's done a quick sweep back through and she's gone, yeah, okay, wow, you have 4 pregnancies. And I was like completely honest, I was hysterical because never heard of this, never knew of multiples. And my mind was going to the worst, that this wasn't a viable pregnancy. And it was something that we worked so hard for. And I was just thinking the worst. And also we had just seen the sack. So we thought, oh, okay, maybe there's some false pregnancies in there. Or maybe there isn't any living pregnancies in there. Sorry, there's a child making noise.
Totally fine. Do what you need to do.
Who is that? Oh no.
Do you need to take a
Do you
quick
mind
break?
if I pause quickly?
So fine.
Yeah.
You just do your thing and we'll just go with it.
I hopefully won't be too long. I'll be back.
All good. How you doing?
We've got him back. He's back asleep.
Woohoo.
Oh, sorry about that.
Good job on the mumming.
Sorry. Oh my goodness. This is just standard. We were talking about when I just found out. So yeah, we were like a bit worried that they weren't 4 viable pregnancies in there. So we were still holding our breath and she said, okay, well, let's treat this like any multiple pregnancy and we'll start closest to the cervix and let's go and check each individual sac. And she started with what we know now as Daisy. And yeah, she checked inside that sac and there was, I think what she called like a yolk. And there was the strongest heartbeat I've heard to date. And it still moves me because, yeah, it's your first and you're hearing that for the first time and it's one of your own and it's just an incredible feeling. We were like, wow, okay, there's one. But we couldn't like fully breathe yet because we had another 3 to get through And yeah, she just kept moving on. Okay, that was one. And she labeled it, I think she labeled it T1. And then she went to the next one, healthy heartbeat. Again, a yolk sac in there as well. T2, went to the third. And then I think she got to the third and she went, hold on, these aren't twins. These are, what even are these? She's like, these are quadruplets. I've got to label them Q, 1, 2, 3, and 4. And yeah, she went through each of the sacs and there were strong heartbeats throughout them all, and all with a yolk sac. And that yolk sac does play quite a crucial part in all this because that eventually becomes the placenta. And with multiples, the placenta plays a large role in whether they're sharing it and things like that. And in our case, that ended up being each of them had their own placenta and they were all contained within their own separate sac. So it eliminated a lot of potential issues that could have happened. And yeah, so once she got through all 4 of them, we all just were in full disbelief. I'd ripped my mask off by this stage. And the excitement hadn't hit me yet. I was still in a lot of fear. Like the things that were rushing through my head were, is this even a viable pregnancy? Should I not get attached yet? Because they could turn around and say, I'm sorry, but this will not progress. So I was like, okay, detach if you can. The next thing was, okay, we can't really stop this pregnancy, but it's going to like have serious health risks for you. And so then I was literally thinking, do people survive these kind of pregnancies? Like, what even is this? And everything was just flooding in at that point. And at that point, we had only had, all we knew was we had 1 embryo transferred. We have 4 identical babies. And yeah, it was very quickly getting overwhelming. And thank God I had Sean there with me. I don't know what I'd do if Sean wasn't there, because I just squeezed his hand. He didn't really say much throughout this process. His jaw was on the floor. He was,
I can imagine.
because he's never really seen an ultrasound either. He's just, this whole situation was so foreign to him.
Yeah.
And anyways, the sonographer ended up saying, who were your nurses throughout your IVF process? And I told them, they're actually in today. Do you mind if we bring them in? We won't tell them anything. We'll just bring them in. We'll start showing them and we'll let them figure it out. And so in they both came and she started scanning me. And these 2 women were the first glimmers of excitement that I had seen, because they were jumping up and down and they were like congratulating Sean and I, giving us hugs, and we'll, hold on, you can be excited about this. This isn't doom and gloom. Like, we can be excited about this kind of thing. And that's when I started, oh, okay, yes, like I felt excitement. Yeah, it was a hard thing to process, because everybody when they go for their first ultrasound, that's all they feel is excitement. Well, hopefully, if they're having like a really good pregnancy and things like that. But yeah, I was feeling terrible because I wasn't feeling excited, and I was thinking all these scary things when this was meant to be the most exciting time of our lives. And they also then brought in, and she was like, yep, there's 4 in there.
Handy that they had one.
Yeah, my doctor wasn't in. My doctor actually wasn't there for many, like, people with IVF will know, because it's so time sensitive. If your doctor's away on a day, they just ring in another doctor. So my doctor wasn't there, but what do I do now? What do we do now? And they were all just like, you need to go see your doctor ASAP. And I was just thinking, oh, I don't even know where to start. But anyways, they all took a sonographer picture, because a picture of the, whatever you call it. And yeah, keep one in the staff room. I should have charged them for it then. I should have been, yep.
You should have signed it and been like, we'll start paying cash for.
Except I went to the reception and paid for my appointment. And then we'll like kind of sign languaging to the receptionist. The sonographer was like, did you hear what just happened in that room with these 2? And we were like, there's 4. And anyways, yeah. So we were really excited because everyone around us was excited. But the minute we got out the door, I nearly hit the floor, like getting to the car. Sean and I were holding each other, getting to the car. And then I just burst out in tears. I was just so scared, petrified. And yeah, it was an hour or so drive home. And nearly half of that we just spent in silence, holding each other's hand, just with me crying, looking out the window like some sad music video, until I was like, pull over, we need chicken nuggets on the ASAP. I am hungry, and this is explaining so much. But yeah, that was us finding out.
Amazing. And just to put it in perspective for everyone, so I saw the stats on this. So quads have only happened 11 times in Australia since 1967. That actually blew my mind. I thought that sounds like a lot. Even though 11's not a lot.
I know.
I feel like it should be more rare, but it's not. So just to highlight that fun fact to the audience,
Yeah.
11 times in Australia, and then I'm sure America, because of IVF and just being a population of 350,000, something like that, versus I think we're 27, million.
Yeah.
350 million over there, about 27, 28 million here,
A
something
lot of
like
people.
that.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
prior to us giving
And
birth at Royal North Shore, the last set of quads that were born there were in 1995. Yes. And fun fact about that, we were on the news, obviously, announcing that we'd had quads at Royal North Shore, and a sibling of these quadruplets actually reached out to me, and she lived like 2 suburbs away from me. It was like,
something in the water. Be
what?
careful, everyone.
Yeah. I was like, this, and we have some mutual people on Facebook and stuff. I was like, what is going on? Wild.
Wow. Is she a distant relative? You should check her
Yeah. And when
out.
I go in that
Maybe
family
she's
tree,
like
I might
your
find
grand.
her.
Meanwhile, yeah, she's like your great auntie's sister's daughter's mother. Something wild. Well, that is such an amazing story. And I know you guys were trying for a year with your IVF and then you got that. So beautiful and shocking. And I do hear that a lot from parents. It's a mixed reaction because there's a lot of emotion and joy and also obviously shock. Unless for some reason you knew that quads
Yeah.
were a family thing. Thanks, Mum. That would have been slightly helpful.
Yeah, exactly.
But anyway, what was your most memorable or funny response from family, friends, or strangers on the internet?
Oh, and a girl at work, she was like, oh my God, you've got like a litter. And I thought that was hilarious. I was
Highly
like,
fertile.
yeah, I'm like a dog breeding farm at the moment. I feel like it too.
Yeah, I think you could put it in better words than dog breeding farm.
Yeah.
If you're in some countries, and this is what I say to my partner, for all the multiple parents out there, if you're in some countries, for example, Africa or India, I know that I have this now validated, they would have put you on like a throne and carried you through the streets.
Moving next
And
week.
my partner, yeah, I know, my partner works with a guy from Ghana and he's like, absolutely, that's true. Because he's like, that wouldn't happen. I was like, he would.
Oh.
And his friend said it would. So not 100% validated, but I'll take
Yeah.
it.
Oh, that would be
So,
great. Yeah, no, there was no.
like,
And actually, that was a big surprising part of multiples, that there's literally like hardly anything out there. I was walking around, I went to work the next day and I was
oh
doing
gosh.
heaps of research, and I was just, I hadn't told anyone at that point. I was only 8 weeks. I actually went and told my boss. And I was just walking around like, no one knows that I have quadruplets in here right now. And I felt like I was on this secret mission. No one's undercover. And because I had a full bump. Like when I went for my ultrasound, I took a bump pic and I was like, I must be so bloated today, but I'm going to rock this because it's my first bump. No, it was a pregnancy bump. It was full on.
Wow, yeah, I mean, that is the thing, right? If you've got more babies, you do get a bump earlier.
Yeah.
And by that 3rd trimester, woo, for those who are expecting, it's true, you do get bigger.
Yes.
You do. I remember asking, I had a friend, I was like, I don't think I can get any bigger, there's no more room. And she's like, you will get bigger. And I
know.
did.
I remember
I'm
going to
sure you'll
petrol
do it.
stations and they'll be like, oh my gosh, you're nearly about to pop. And I was 20 weeks. I'm like, yeah, any day now.
So wrong, so wrong. And so we talked about the quad types, so they're all separate. And just for everyone listening, with quads and with any multiple birth, it can be identical and split. You can have a mix of identical and fraternal. So there can be a whole host of ways with which you get quadruplet, but you amazingly have 4 single babies, which is quite unusual. And the fact that they all have their own sacs and cords, as you mentioned, is great because it's like a safe little house where they're not sharing as much food for anyone who doesn't get
Exactly, yes.
Which, you know, is definitely a beautiful scenario. Okay, so pregnancy symptoms. Love to hear what they were. So mobility, sleep, etc. How did that go for you?
Yeah, so I had my embryo transfer and then you do the 2-week dreaded wait. And I think just prior to the end of those 2 weeks, I was already having sore boobs, and which makes sense because I was pregnant just before the transfer, is what we're kind of gathering. It's really hard to nail down how we actually came about with the quadruplets, but it looks like I had fell pregnant just a couple of days prior to this transfer. No, they wouldn't have been able to see it when they transferred the embryo. So it was, yeah. But my boobs were really, really sore and getting really big. I was like, oh, I think I could be pregnant here. I didn't really suffer from morning sickness. I feel terrible talking about it because I did have quite a cruisy pregnancy. I know.
Just say your truth, because I think it's actually good to help other expectant multiple parents to know it's
Yeah.
not always the worst scenario.
Yeah.
So everyone's got their own story. Just say yours. You can't control it. But I actually think I have friends expecting and they're terrified
Oh,
that
okay.
they'll 100% get the worst scenario. So
Yes.
it's good to hear that
Well, yeah, I
no
never
sickness.
I never vomited. I started getting a little bit off in the mornings, but I found out that's because I was taking Elevate in the mornings, and I found if I took them in the afternoons, it stopped that. So that was really good. Headaches were a bit of a thing, and obviously like just drop dead fatigue. In that first trimester, I was
Can't imagine why.
oh, an afternoon nap was just oh, I miss those so much. But yeah, that was pretty much it. Was yeah, the fatigue, the headaches, and that was it throughout as well. Obviously, as I got bigger, like the back pain came in, but as for nausea and everything like that, I was really lucky.
That's great to hear. I'm glad. I think that that was the universe giving you some positives to
Yeah,
boost
they
you
knew where I was
in
in for. They were
preparation.
like, let's just give
They
this
did.
girl
They're
a
like, we're
break.
gonna come together. Yeah, yeah, I love that. And so you mentioned before that you exercise quite a bit. So do you feel that sounds like you were potentially fit? Like, did you have a strong core to like hold those babies in or back? Or like, did you feel like your body's state helped? Again, trying to give a picture to the audience if they're like considering
Yeah.
what they can do to help the pregnancy and carrying weight.
Yeah, well, prior to I just always played sport. It was just like second nature to me. I wasn't necessarily someone that was in the gym all the time. I was one of those people that would just rock up on the day, play my sport, go home kind of thing. I do think that that definitely helped me though, because I was just somebody that was so used to being so active. So I stayed on my feet and kept myself mobile a lot throughout my pregnancy. And not just did that help my body, that helped me with my mind as well. When I ended up in hospital, I made sure I was still moving around and things like that, because yeah, you could quickly go very stir crazy in your brain when you're just being sat in one spot for a long time. But yeah, naturally I was yeah, quite active, but as I yeah, got further in my pregnancy, I didn't really partake in any fitness or anything like that. I just did my usual day-to-day things, which was, yeah, not really much. Just getting out, outdoors, like moving around the house. I was still helping in the gardening and things like that in the garden. And yeah, that was it for me.
Okay, that's lovely to hear. Now, I did see that you did have to consume a lot of food, because I know for those who haven't had multiples, they do eat you alive. And it's not that they actually eat, well, they kind of are, but as long as you feed them, as long as you feed them, they get your little masters don't get as grumpy. But what were you eating
Mm.
per day? I think that's a really interesting
I
fact to
hadn't
let
thought
people
about
know.
this until I was in the hospital, and I got admitted at 24 weeks. And so I was their little guinea pig. And they run lots of tests on me to find out more information. I was getting bloods every day. But they did this one test on me where when I woke up, I wasn't allowed to really move, and I was wheeled to a respiratory unit, I think it was. And I had this big like mask put on my face, and I had to stay still 15 minutes, which is really uncomfortable when you're heavily pregnant with quadruplets. Anyways, they were testing my rested energy. So, how much energy I was using while I was at a rested heart rate. And that came back that I needed to be consuming at about 3,000 calories a day just to upkeep, yeah, food for the kids, food for myself. And I was also had gestational diabetes. So, gestational diabetes, hospital diet, 3,000 calories a day was a mission in itself. They had me on heaps of strawberry milk. I still love strawberry milk, but this particular one they had me on, I can't look at it anymore. Lots of like crackers and
Makes sense.
things. Yeah, it was a lot. And like you'd think that you'd get more hungry because you've got all these kids, but the pressure on my stomach, like how squished my stomach was getting, I couldn't eat like large amounts. I was really snacking because I just got full so quickly because there wasn't much room left. Yeah.
Interesting. And I think that's a really common trait that I'll call out as well. So yeah, when you have multiples, there's not some magic trick. I actually remember watching a YouTube cartoon animation of what happens to my organs with all these babies. And it's quite interesting. It literally just gets pushed to the side and then your ribs lift and whatever else happens. But yeah, that pressure on your stomach, often not for everyone, does mean that yeah, small meals, but you've got to eat, you got to eat.
Yeah.
and you might not be hungry. I don't know if you were actually like feeling that you wanted to eat that much, but you got to do it because otherwise like the headaches of the pressure on your body. Again,
Definitely.
each to their own, but
Yeah,
as a
definitely
general
wasn't like
trend.
ever like going through bouts of, oh my God, I'm so hungry. But yeah, I would always have snacks, just constantly snacking. It's funny you talk about the ribs stretching. That was probably one of my worst pains, was the rib cartilage stretching towards the end. Yeah, that was not pleasant. But I do remember them ultrasounding me one stage. They're like, oh, we can't find your ovary or something. And they're like, oh, here it is. It's up around your back. And I was just like, oh my God, I don't even tell me where my organs are at the moment. That's freaking me out.
They're literally just up against the walls of your
Yeah.
body. I wish I could show you this graphic. It was, shouldn't there be some like natural way where our body's okay, you're pregnant with multiples, we're just gonna do, and you'll still be able to breathe, and your stomach will be fine, your bladder won't be squashed, it will just kind of shrink. Doesn't
Yeah,
work,
no.
or just get squashed. So fun to hear. Okay, and so you were on bed rest. I've got a couple notes here for 2 months, and then you delivered at 31 weeks, 31 and a half weeks. Is that right?
Yeah, I wasn't necessarily
Yeah.
on bed rest. My doctor, Karen, she was incredible. She was a realist, and she was from the get-go. She was like, this is incredible, but this is a dangerous pregnancy. Like, we would need to make sure we're being very cautious with everything. So that's why I got admitted so early. My cervix had shortened drastically, but that was the only issue. And she just wanted me to be close to hospital. But she said, make sure you still go walk down to the cafe, go walk around and things like that. But obviously don't exert yourself. And those like walks down to the cafeteria, and I'd walk to meet Sean in the car park and things like that. They were the things I got excited for throughout like the day. Yes, okay, I get to go for my walk down to get my cookie. I'm so excited and things like that. So it wasn't strict bed rest, but there was a lot of rest involved because yeah, it was tiring at the end.
Got it. So that sounds like a good takeaway for anyone expecting multiples, is have routines, your joyful moments to look forward to, especially if you've got higher order. Now let's go on to pregnancy and delivery day. So I read somewhere that you had 40 medical professionals in the theatre and they did rehearsals.
Yes.
Is that
The rumor
right?
is true. Yes, I had an incredible team, and I think that this helped a lot in my mind because I wasn't necessarily worrying about the pregnancy because I put it all in their hands. You driving that wheel, I'm over here just making sure I keep myself calm, myself rested, and I'll do that part, but you guys take all the worry. So I really dumped that on them, and I could because they were an incredible team. I had a specialist midwife, I had my doctors, they were having weekly meetings. I had this big tub next to my bed that was filled with all the equipment needed in case I went into labor or something like that. Because, yeah, you can't just quickly find 4 of everything in a hospital. So they had a big tub next to me, and yeah, they did practice rehearsals of the cesarean. So practicing getting 4 humidity cribs in and out of the theatre. And they found out that 4 humidity cribs actually wouldn't fit in the theatre. So they had 1 in the prep room, 3 in there. They had everything labeled, like on the day, each humidity crib had an A4 piece of paper with a number, and then every staff involved with that child had that number stuck on their back as well. So yeah, they were so planned, and it made for the smoothest birth. Well, I thought it was smooth. I don't know about the guys, the girls running the show. It was actually incredible. All women. I think there was 2 men in the room. So it was a very empowering situation to be in and to experience. And yeah, they had done a practice rehearsal. I think the rehearsal they did it for 2 hours or something. They went over everything, oxygen splitters, they had it all down pat, like the clamps and everything. So the first baby would have 1 clamp, the second would have 2, the third would have 3, like on the umbilical cord and stuff. So it was just so well thought out. So yeah, on delivery day, my doctor was actually away on leave. So
They would have been so
no.
disappointed because I'm sure as a medical professional, they love
Yeah.
this sort of stuff, right?
2 days later,
Something
she
that's a
got
little bit
back.
more
I was like,
difficult.
I'm so sorry. But she had the best wing woman, I'll call her, just ready to go. And I had full trust that they all knew what they were doing there. And yeah, so why I went in on 31 and a half, my goal was 32. Well, the hospital's goal was 32. They were like, we won't go past that point. It'll be 32 and that's it. I was starting to get headaches and show signs of preeclampsia. I'd had a few overnight stays in the birthing suite because I was having contractions. like Braxton Hicks all throughout, but then it was becoming very much like contractions overnight, where they'd be a little bit painful, they were tightening, they were consistent, they were regular, and I had a few like cervical examinations and all that was fine, but it was getting a bit too close, and they had a meeting and they came to me with some scenarios, and I just said, look, I'd rather be proactive rather than reactive. The last thing I want to do is be going into labor and needing a cesarean in the middle of the night, and you've got to call up 40 people and get them all here. That's just too stressful for me. Let's call it. And they were like, right, in under 48 hours, you're going to have these kids. And yeah,
Wow.
crazy. So everyone around us knew when my delivery date was going to be, but then they didn't know that we had brought it forward, and we kept that hush hush. And yeah, the day came, and yeah, it was wild.
How was that moment? Because I hear this quite a few parents as well, is there's one thing to have them in your stomach, but once they're actually out and real and you can see there's a baby, a real human baby, how was that moment for you? Did you even get to hold them straight away, or do they take them straight in the humidity cribs?
Yeah, it was really, really bizarre, because you always hear of this euphoric moment and the baby comes out and you're just overwhelmed with love and all of that. And for us, we were just overwhelmed. Yeah, they were real. Like they were born all within 2.5 minutes. This process happened so quickly, and I don't know why.
Wow. Shout out to Royal North Shore. I just have to mention that because, wow.
Yeah, they had
Very
four nurses ready with towels, and they'd go, baby number 1. They'd walk up, grab the baby, go, baby number 2. And we, for some reason, thought they'd pull one baby out, go, all right, quick, have a sip of coffee, let's go on to baby number 2. But we asked them to drop the drapes, and they were just just pulling them out.
Oh my God, you what?
Yeah. It was
Wow.
crazy. So yeah, they pulled them all out. They just gave us a quick look at them, and then they took them off straight away. And we could hear them all calling out different numbers and things like that, oxygens, but they were so fine. They didn't need oxygen. They just went straight
Wow.
onto CPAP. That was it. And
Mhm.
they, once they had all 4 of them in their humidity cribs, they were like, right, team, let's go. Sean went with them. I didn't get to touch them or anything like that, and they went straight across the hall to the NICU while they finished with me and things like that. Definitely the waterworks come on as soon as the first baby's out, and you hear that cry, and it's incredible. But I think we were just so driven to getting them out, that I was so fixated on that I was distracted by that almost, that the overwhelming sense of love and everything didn't come until I got to touch them, and I got to really feel that they were real. And I'm like, okay, yeah, they're there. And then when I got to touch them later on, that's when it really hit me. I was like, wow, these are oh yeah, these are my babies.
Oh, so beautiful. I just love that. And I'm so impressed that they're all doing well. And then the CPAP. So CPAP, for anyone listening, is it blows oxygen because there's fluid on the lungs, because when they come out, sometimes if they don't get the squeezing. I had one baby on CPAP as well.
Yeah.
So you did so well.
Incredible.
And they were 1.5 kilos each.
Yes.
So again, for anyone listening, that is wonderful. I think for the US, that's 3.3 pounds. I did the check earlier. So that's 4 lots of 1.5. Very impressive, and a whole lot of baby. So that's 6 kilos of baby.
Yeah, and then the placentas. So they all had their own placenta,
Oh, yeah.
but they were kind of like 4 eggs cracked in a pan. They merged together to make this mega placenta, which they wheeled it next to me when they were stitching me up. And they're like, get a load of this. And I was like, wow, it was huge. I think I lost 20, between 20 to, oh, I have to fact check it, but it was like maybe 25 kilos within 24 hours of having the bubs. Yeah, it was wild, the weight that I lost from just having them, and that feeling as well of that boulder being gone was so bizarre. It was, yeah, it took a bit to adjust. Yeah, it was wild.
How was your balance? Did you, because all the muscles, obviously, they've got 9 months to adjust, and then suddenly the weight, the fluid, the babies, the placenta. How was your balance? Were you a bit like, oh, and did your muscles,
Yeah,
and did your stomach do the gurgling as well when it went back in?
yeah, my tummy took a bit to go down, obviously. I think I had 4 fingers separation the next day, and then by the time I was discharged on day 4 or 6, I think it was down to 2 fingers separation. which has all gone back, which I'm so lucky for. But I remember, trying to just do everyday things. I was like, oh, I feel off balance now because I had compensated so much for this big belly. And my belly did stay like, oh, it looked like I was pregnant until maybe a month or so. I was still really, really swollen in my stomach. My uterus took some time to go down. But yeah, the first time rolling onto my side and not having to compensate, they had me on a bariatric bed in the hospital. So, which is a bed for bigger sized people. And yeah, I was nearly touching side to side when I was laying on my side in one of those. So to roll over and not have that and not need my pillow fort, I was like, whoa, this is so weird.
Who am I?
Yeah.
That's very interesting to hear all those facts. I think it is such an adjustment period physically. It's quite a bit. I tripped over.
Oh, wow.
My babies were about, yeah, well, I was tripping over pregnant, and then afterwards I was falling. Like it was like I could see where I was going, but I would just fall. So
Yeah.
just saying call out to people, be careful after your pregnancy.
Definitely.
But yeah, I think the body, it has got quite a change, but so incredible, like absolutely incredible that your body can do that. And then you had 4-finger separation and it's gone back. Did you do anything specifically to bring it back together, or was that a natural
Just
like shrinking down?
Just a lot of rest.
Just resting.
I wore the they're called CRC recoverants. Could not recommend them more highly. I had those on, I think, it was maybe 2 or so weeks after the kids, and they just gave me that hold in my midsection so I didn't feel so loose. They're really tight compression pair of pants. I think you can use your health insurance and things to help cover some of the costs with it. But any kind of compression that you can get around your midsection afterwards, I found was really, really comforting, because you feel so loose and jello and things like that. But yeah, that was a big part of helping me recover.
That's a great tip. Now, we talked about the hospital and recovery. So you just rested, you had your abdominal support piece. One thing which I absolutely love about your profile, I'm not sure how I came across you, by the way. I don't know if it was the news or the algorithm sending you to me. You are so great in terms of body positivity. You're really open. You've showed photos publicly of your body and the changes. And you wrote the most beautiful post a little while back about how proud you are of your body. Is there anything that you would, I guess, share to people who are currently pregnant, who have had kids and perhaps don't feel that level of safe love? How did you get there, and what would your thoughts be to share with others?
Yeah. I think it's just stepping back and just seeing what your body did. For even just with a singleton, what the female body can do. Shout out to dads, but you guys can't lactate. Here we are pushing out, growing all of these separate organs, growing limbs. Like we said before, your organs moving, and then they move back, and then you're like, if you are breastfeeding, if you're not breastfeeding, to take all of that in and think, oh my, and yeah, it shocked me how well your body could just adapt to that. And you're not telling your body to do any of this, it just does it naturally. I was just in awe of all women, of all of our bodies, whatever shape and size, because they're just incredible. I just, was in absolute awe, and I still am today. Yeah, I've got the loose skin, the stretch marks and whatever, but they're just reminders of how incredible the body really is. And I am so, so proud of my body in the shape that it is now. If it looked any other way as well, it has given me 4 incredible blessings, and it's still keeping me moving to keep up with those 4 blessings. So I'm so proud of my body and everything that it's done, and I'm in awe of all women's bodies, because they're amazing.
Beautiful words, Taylah. I think that this will resonate with a lot of parents, whether they be the birth mums or partners or whatever. I think it's a really nice way to talk about it. Now, I wanted to also ask as well, so Sean, where is Sean in amongst the 40? Where's Sean?
Oh, the poor guy.
Was he there?
Yeah.
Was he okay?
Yeah,
I mean,
he's still ticking. He's at work today,
yeah.
so he's a full-time high school teacher.
Yeah.
He's the rock. He's the rock in this family, and as much as I played a part in getting these babies into this world, so did he, because he kept me so grounded and he supported me without me asking for the support. So the hospital is about a 2 hour drive from our house. Sean was in the middle of renovating our house to just get it to a standard to have preemie babies come home. And he was working full time, going home, doing those renovations. Then he was driving down, staying the night on the classic dad sofa. I'm so sorry to all the dads and partners that have to sleep on those beds. They are horrific. On one of those, then getting up at like 4:30, 5 o'clock in the morning, driving straight from there back to work, and doing that every day, every single day, just so that I had someone there of a nighttime with me. Just incredible. So, so incredible. And he's been the best dad since as well. So hands on. There's no job that he doesn't do or that he, yeah, shies away from. He was actually the one when the bubs first came that was really hands on with them. I was petrified, but he was like, yeah, okay, I'll give that a go. I'll give it a go holding them standing up, where I was like, oh, I've got no idea. I was too scared. But yeah, he's incredible.
That's really nice to hear. And I think that sometimes these situations can really bring out the best in people, having multiples. I spoke to someone recently who mentioned a couple of people recently who mentioned similar things, that, having multiples can be a beautiful thing that brings families together. So Sean, very impressed. Love to hear that he's hands-on and jumped in.
Yes.
I think our nurses threw the nappy change at my partner. The first one, we didn't know what to do. And they're like, no, you can do it. We're like, but can you do it?
Yeah.
So anyway, I think he rose to the occasion, but that is a beautiful trait, and I'm glad to hear that. So that's such a support.
Yeah.
Now, just next on the agenda, or the questions list, is baby feeding. I had a special ask about this as well from a lactation consultant. Just high level, how did that go? Did you breastfeed or pump or?
Yes, so I breastfed for 6 months. I was very much like a Jersey cow. I was expressing up to 2 liters a day. And so I knew I wanted to give it a go, but I had no expectations on it whatsoever. I was like, it is what it is. I was told to steer clear of touching my breasts or anything to get colostrum prior to having the kids. So actually, while I was waiting and being prepared, I was like, I want the babies to have colostrum when they get to the NICU. And they sent 2 nurses in and they were expressing me for colostrum while I was getting the rundown from all the doctors that coming in. There went everything. I was just top off, trying to hold a serious conversation while just, yeah, going for gold. It was, the photographer was watching because we had a photographer with us and she was just like, this is mental. But yeah, so once I was able to get up like into a wheelchair and get to the NICU, I had some incredible nurses up there that helped me start to express and start doing that from the get-go. And it took a long time for that to come through. I think my body was still trying to register, okay, you've had the babies, like they were preemie, and I also wasn't sleeping next to them or having them in the room with me. So it took a little bit for that to all come through, but I just persevered. Every, I think, 3 hours, I was just hand expressing, trialing pumps and things like that while I was in the hospital. So we were going up and down to the NICU every 3 hours to deliver that colostrum. And then once I got home, I continued pumping every 3 hours, doing power pumping, eating all the things. And when I'd go into the special care to see the bubs, I would take in my milk. But I was also very lucky that we had donor milk. So obviously my supply wasn't up at the beginning to be able to help for all of them. And yeah, thankful for Lifeblood and the hospital that we're at that we were able to receive that, and they also helped transfer that to the hospital, our local hospital. So once my supply come in, I was able to have the kids fully on my milk while they were in there. And yeah, I pretty much just expressed and then bottle fed them my milk. Sometimes I would try and contact breastfeed, but when they were so little, it was just so hard to navigate. They were so tiny. It was hard to do that. So the bottles helped as well for having other people being able to help with feeds. So yeah, we did that until it got to 6 months, and a lot of family was saying how much weight I had lost and how I was starting to look a bit sickly. I was, I think, becoming a bit malnourished and things like that. And I just needed to stop because it was consuming a lot of my time. It was consuming a lot of my energy, a lot of my nutrients. And yeah, so after that, we just went back to formula and yeah, bottle fed them from there.
That is such an impressive achievement. When you said 6 months, I was actually expecting less. I mean, I have a very big community of multiples, and some people are able to, breastfeed the whole way, some not, some halfway, etc. And I'm really impressed. So, hats off.
Thank you.
That's so good. And the volume, wow.
I know.
Did you use any like a special pillow, or was there a pump that you loved?
Yes.
That you want to give a shout out to?
Yes, the Medela hands-free one was incredible because when you've
Yeah.
got multiples, there's always someone in your arms or you're washing a bottle or something. I found the hands-free ones, I could put them on, wash bottles, I could do things like that. I will have to find out the name of the cookies that I was eating to help encourage my supply to come in. But just eating whatever, just keeping your intake in. I think I lived off strawberry milk and Tim Tams for breakfast for that 6 months.
Oh, wow.
I was just pumping that down. But yeah, the sound of breast pumps at the moment, like if I was to hear that right now, would send me twitching. I don't think that sound leaves you.
Traumatized?
Yeah, I remember a
No.
girlfriend had a bub 2 weeks after me and we'd Snapchat each other like when we were pumping. And now when we get reminders of those videos, you can just hear the in the background of everything. But yeah, the Medela hands-free pump was amazing. But at the start, I found just manually expressing was really, really helpful. Also,
Wow.
with the bubs being in hospital, the nurses would record the babies like trying to take a dummy and that suckling sound, videoing them like making noises. So when I was at home without them, I would play those videos to try and help with a letdown. Which I do recommend, but I also found it quite emotionally hard. I would find myself crying a lot during those times because here I am watching. Oh, it's making me emotional thinking about it.
Yeah.
You're watching your babies and you're thinking, wow, they should be here with me while I'm doing this, and yet they're there. And then you'd have a lot of guilt that you're not there with them and you're at home. And yeah, that was a really, really hard time having them in the hospital and not being able to be there with them. So watching those videos, as much as they may have helped with my letdown, they mentally were very challenging.
Yeah.
Oh, that brought back a lot of
Sorry to
memories.
hear that. Yeah, well, it's hormones, right? And
Yeah.
then they say that, it is a bit, I think, traumatizing when you want to be with your babies and you can't, and that like you can't hold them. And then again, for multiple parents, you might stay in the hospital for a while, but then your multiples might stay longer if one's in the NICU or all of them in the NICU.
Yeah.
So I think that's a really real thing, and just something, again, like this is a heads up on expectation for new parents. You are going to be full of hormones, so those things are hard. I felt horrific. I saw my baby's photo because I wasn't able to touch him. He had smeared dried milk on his chin. He was totally fine,
Yeah.
but I was like, who's looking after him? Because wasn't allowed down there either until a few days later. And so I totally understand it. And I think it's just part of the process.
Yeah.
People, like you may expect it to happen. For partners, just, be there and understand that that's something
Definitely.
that's, does hurt.
It does.
Right?
I always found, because I stayed maybe 1 or 2 nights at the hospital. I was allowed to stay as much as I liked, but I needed to be at home to rest as well of the night time. So Sean would get me to the hospital at 8 a.m., pick me up at 8 p.m. But I found I always needed Sean to pick me up from the hospital. I just needed that emotional support driving home and things like that. So I think my mum tried to pick me up one time, and I was just distraught. So yeah, those little things, just having my partner there when I was leaving was really, really helpful. But I wasn't prepared for that. I wasn't prepared for how hard it is to have babies in the hospital while you're at home.
Yeah, I hope that people hearing this, again, maybe they feel a bit of fear, but just having an expectation that matches it, knowing it's something that might happen, and just to gear your partner up and your friends and family to support.
Definitely.
Now, let's just go into, because I don't want to take too much more time because I know your baby's sleeping
They'll
for
be
the
due
moment.
up any minutes, I can imagine.
Yeah. So just, I guess, last things, survival mode to now. So where are you guys now in terms of like sleep, everything like that? What do people have, like what can they imagine if they're kind of neck deep in the first phase and now you guys have got older babies? What does that look like?
Yeah, I thought having multiples meant that you're going to be on multiple sleeping situations, like you're going to have one that's awake, one that's not, and that set us up for a really hard first 6 months because I had that expectation that, oh, you've got 4 babies, you're never going to sleep again. I didn't seek the help because I didn't think there was help possible. So we had a really hard time with sleep for those first 6 months until we had 2 incredible women, Sleep by Steph and Marianne Sayers, who came in and they didn't sleep train our kids. They gave us sleep education, looking for tired signs, knowing that you can actually get all of them to sleep at the same time. They naturally want to do that kind of thing. Yeah, so knowing that it's actually possible was just a big mind shift. So after 6 months, we were able to get them all sleeping at the same time, napping at the same time. Now at 19 months, they're all asleep at the moment. They go to bed at the same time for their nap. They self-settle, and of a night time, they go down to bed at 6 o'clock. They self-settle and sleep for 12 to 13 hours of the night. Yeah, it is possible. It can be challenging those first 2 or 3 days while you're trying to get to that. But had I known that that was actually possible, it was a thing that could happen. I always just heard so many negative things around sleep with babies that I just naturally thought that having multiples meant you're going to have multiple issues with their sleep. So I just kind of fell in, Sean and I fell into that pattern of thinking that we just had to accept it. But yeah, there is help out there. Sleep is possible. And I think that's a bit of a gift with multiples is they're the same age. They can fall into the same patterns. They can have the same routine. They're meeting milestones together. And so you can kind of marry that up. So we're really, really lucky with that now that we've found a good pattern. We've got a good routine, and yeah, it's nice. But it was rough for those first 6 months.
I can only imagine. That is a great call out. People seek help early. Even if you've got a single baby, it's definitely possible. I'll also link those names as well because I think there might be people that want to talk to them. Okay, so what are you most proud of for yourself and Sean in what you've achieved since that first day when you found out?
I think I'm proud that we've kept our lives as well. We've kept it's so easy to bunker down and get so stuck with it, but we haven't let the bubs fully restrict us. Obviously, there's a lot that we can't do, but just accepting that it's going to be hard to get out of the house. It's going to be hard to go and do certain things, but it's hard to stay home as well. So picking those battles and picking those times to get your confidence up to get out and go and do those things. And those things I'm talking about is putting them all in a pram and walking down the street and coming back. Like, that's huge. That's a mammoth effort. But if you get stuck, I found that we got stuck in thinking about how much you have to do to be able to get out the door. Oh, don't worry about it. We're not going to do it. But we realized if we thought like that for raising these children, we're not going to get out and do much, and then that's going to hinder on them. So we quickly accepted that, yeah, it's going to take longer to get out, it's going to take more preparation, it's going to be a bit tricky, but it's worth it for our mental health. So that was a big thing that in the early days that we're really proud of ourselves for doing. But yeah, again, if you need a few days to bunker down as well, but staying on the same page with each other and remembering that you're the team was, yeah, that's also a big help as it's very, very easy to fall into the habit of, well, you got more sleep and you got this, and you quickly drift apart and you forget that you're on the same team. But yeah, reminding each other that we're in it together, we're both here in the trenches is comforting, and it's helpful as well, knowing that you're not in it alone, and yeah, reminding each other we're both here. It's okay. We'll get through it one day.
That's a really beautiful explanation of how people can work together. And I think what we'll do is we'll wrap up and we'll finish up with 2 questions from the audience, well, from your followers or people that are listening. So one was just about keeping that spark alive. And I think you've kind of covered that off, that you remember that you're a team. Any I'll add to that one?
I think naturally the spark it simmers a little bit. And I think having the expectation that you're still going to have this incredible spark that you did before you had kids can sometimes be quite detrimental. You don't have the same time anymore. You don't have the same energy anymore. But when you do have those times, you make the most of those times. So yeah, it might not be the same as before, but the quality is more, I think, because you appreciate that time that you do finally get. So before, Sean and I would sit down and watch TV and you wouldn't think much of it. But now when we get to sit down and watch TV together, that's a really nice moment because we're together, we're doing that, and we might sit a bit closer on the lounge together rather than sitting at opposite ends. And that's watching the Wiggles documentary is our date night now. That's fun.
Oh, cute.
Yeah.
Very cute. Love
I
that.
think, the spark changes. It doesn't die out. It changes. It evolves into a different type of spark. And the spark might not be as frequent and whatever, but it's the quality of it, I think.
Great answer. And I'm getting a relationship psychologist on in a
Ooh,
while.
excited
So it'll
to
be
hear that.
interesting to like hear what I know, isn't everybody? Like, how can we absolutely nail this? Great response. And then I guess final question, just because I know you've got to get to your babies. What can people do? So asking for help. So this is one for new parents, like what they can do, and also a message for any family or friends that maybe don't have kids or don't understand. Like, how can someone message that out? What do you think is the best way? And then what are ways that people can actually help?
Yeah, great question. In the early days, I remember having some really rough patches, and I actually reached out to Panda, which is any parent can reach out, mums, dads, whoever, which I think is just a great resource to have and a great number to have in your phone, just to keep it on your fridge, wherever, because there may be times that you need it and there may not be, but just knowing that you have that number there to call if you do need is really, really important. But there is help out there. Sometimes it can be hard to navigate, but the Multiple Births Association is really, really helpful. I find just anyone with multiples is a good resource to have. They might have a little tip or trick to help you with things to navigate those early days while you're just adjusting to becoming a parent and you don't want to think about everything else. Just reach out to a fellow multiple, and you can find those multiple people through the Multiple Births Association, which is really, really helpful. And for those people around people that have just had multiples, we have an incredible community and a village, and we are so blessed for them because we know that not everybody gets to have that village. Some people have family that live interstate, international. It's a big part of the process in raising multiples, and we're really lucky for those that we have around us. But yeah, we have incredible friends, Howdy and Demi, which if people follow us on social media, they're always on there because they've been from day dot like the biggest help ever. They would rock up with a Thermomix underarm and come and stay for the weekend. They'd sleep on our lounge and help us with feeds and things like that. But yeah, I think big ways to help is not asking and just kind of tuning into what they need. They need cooked meals. Leave some baked goods at the door. Get some nappies, drop them at the door. If they're formula fed, just finding out what that is and just leaving a tin at the door. It's not always coming inside and physically helping. It's just sometimes those little acts. Also a phone call. It takes 8 minutes to make someone not feel alone. Just a call, having a chat. And I found sometimes it was nice just hearing about what other people were getting up to. A lot of the time everyone's calling, asking about the kids, and I just wanted a break from my reality a little bit. And I'm like, tell me what's the goss? What's happening in your world? Tell me. But yeah, just checking in, messages. Even if you're not getting a message back, I can guarantee your message is being seen, and that means a lot in itself.
Great tips. So nappies, tins of formula, food, I think food vouchers as well, meal
Yes.
vouchers. Can't get enough. Flowers, beautiful, don't need them. Food.
Yeah, I think I
Never
got
don't
one
need food
bunch of
vouchers.
flowers and they were lovely, but the box of donuts that got dropped at the door the next day, I was like, oh, now we're
Wow.
talking.
Maybe because it's never enough time.
Yeah.
And then calling, messaging, knowing you might not hear a response, or turning up and doing night feeds. I think that one sounds really good.
That's a good one.
Any takers?
Yeah.
Okay, well, Taylah, this has been so lovely. I've really enjoyed hearing more about your story. I think there'll be some great takeaways for the audience. Let's wrap up. I'm looking forward to getting this live, and I think people will really enjoy it. So thanks so much.
Yeah, thank you so much for having me. I love talking all things multiples. There's so much to unpack with them, but yeah, they're just beautiful blessings. And anyone with multiples, pregnant with multiples, you've got a lot of love to come. So yeah, it's great.
I agree. It's a beautiful community. Well, thanks so much, Taylah.
Thank you.
As always, if you enjoy my podcast, I really appreciate it if you could subscribe and rate us. That way, we'll get this podcast sent to other parents to get them best set up to thrive, not just survive.